Hi JJ, thanks for having me. It's an honor for me to be here.
It's my honor.
So much for your time. You created these amazing new characters and now you get to wrap up their stories. Was it more difficult for you to create them or say goodbye to them?
Definitely bringing it to an end is harder by a million. It's much harder. But it was that challenge that was the most exciting part of it. You know, how do we do this that feels like it's a send-off not just to these new characters, but to the characters that we've all known for decades.
Star Wars arrived at the late 70s, troubled times, and it spoke to a generation that needed that message. What do you think this movie, says to this new generation?
You know, I think that while we're in a very different time, there are some eerie overlaps and similarities, and I feel like a story that talks about hope, talks about unity, talks about the underdog, people coming together against oppression. There are things that are, I'd like to think, lessons that don't need to be retaught or messages that don't need to be reminded, but it does feel to me like a movie about this kind of, friendship, possibility, the opportunity to come together to defeat an enemy, and like I said, mostly a message of hope. That to me is something that I think is a very powerful thing, and I think is necessary today, certainly as in '77.
And you guys inspired so many people with your characters. How did that feel emotionally? I'm not talking about the fame, I'm talking about the personal connections with your fans and knowing what you did with inspiring all these people around the world.
It's weird because in your day-to-day life, it's not like you sit down and think, God, go us. But it is amazing.
Yeah.
Oscar does.
Yeah.
But it is amazing seeing people go to the cinema, and especially for me in particular with parents saying, I took my little girl, and that's really wonderful.
And what do you think Rey, Poe and Finn's legacy is?
The audience create that legacy. I feel like whatever comes of those characters is based on how the fans kind of react and interact with the fandom after we're done. So I think like it's really just up to them. Who they, all the stuff that any art or any kind of fan stuff that we've seen, it's all been the audience, deciding that. I think that's what's great about it.
Yeah, being inspired by
they're inspired by the movie, and then they,
When and why did you decide to bring Palpatine back?
Well, we discussed it years ago. We were working on Force Awakens, but it wasn't my responsibility until I was brought on to this movie to actually ask, what are we gonna, what is the story that we want to see, that we want to tell? And if you look at the 9 films as one book, if you look at each of the chapters, there is this, I believe this sort of inevitability that power, especially given that there's very clear setup in the prequel trilogy about his hunger to cheat death and what does that mean. So this is a kind of that manifest. This is sort of the idea that this is a trilogy about a younger generation dealing with the unresolved conflicts in the past, history repeating itself. What happens when the Force loses its balance and has to be regained. And because Palpatine was this incredible presence behind these first 2 trilogies, it almost would feel strange if he didn't in some form appear here. So that's the answer.
And I know we can talk a lot about the movie, but maybe you can give us like out of context spoilers, like some random words that make no sense now,
that's
but
fun.
In the future they will.
Okay. Flashing.
flashing. Like, you know what? That really works.
Yeah.
And can you please share with us your favorite and dearest moment of Carrie Fisher on set with you guys?
Yeah, spent some time with each other, so I think it's just loads of moments. And with any of the, well, I call them the OGs, I think you hear their stories about their experience previously, whether it's in passing or they're speaking with someone else, and you kind of like just listen in and be like, huh, so that's what it was like for you. And I think there were many moments with Kerry and Harrison and Mark as well.
She would often start singing or humming, and there was every once in a while we would dance together.
Yeah, you lot would do that.
Yeah, yeah, it was so random.
I think
but
to myself, where's my dance?
I always liked that.
What are you going to miss the most about Ray, Poe, and Finn?
For me, I think working together.
Yeah.
And it's just that dynamic and how.
You are friends, right?
Yes.
Like-
Yes.
And how joyful that was to be on it.
Absolutely.
Sometimes depends on the day.
Depends on the day.
Yeah.
But I think that's what I'll miss the most.